Hey guys, and welcome back. And today I have the lovely Lisa with me.
Hello.
We are going to be talking about a recent Saab purchase. In Sweden, you do need to have a winter beater. We have obviously a cherished vintage Saab 900, but you don't really want to put that on the roads in Sweden due to the heavy amount of salt that they put on the roads here. So if you want to look after that car, you usually tend to put it away during the winter and get yourself something you can just beat around in. So let's take a look at it. Welcome back to the Classic Saab Guy. So you may remember Lisa from a previous video we did on our beautiful Saab 900. She has since sold that car just due to it being a three-door and an automatic, and it wasn't really practical now that we are married and have a combined family of 5. Now don't get us wrong, we both love that beautiful Saab 900 in that lovely Charmot brown orange. It was gorgeous inside and out. The interior was fantastic. It was in such good condition, but we did need to have a manual car for our kids to learn in. And so also being the fact that it was in such good condition, we would only run it into the ground using it as a daily driver. And so we thought the best thing to do was, now that we're a combined family, we should look at other options as what car we would be using. And we thought someone else would appreciate this car, so we sold it on. It went to a collector eventually abroad. Now the normal thing to do would be to go and spend 30,000 euros on a Volvo or a Volkswagen and use that as your all year round car and as a good winter car. But we don't really have that kind of money lying around, but also I'm very much into vintage cars. I've had old Saabs for many years. They've been very reliable. I'm actually good with mechanics, so I can solve things on the side of the road if I had to, and I have some knowledge and know how to get out of problems. Plus I find that older cars are easier to work on, and so you can get things solved if there are problems. Lisa's very much into her vintage and retro as well, but there's also an environmental factor, which is to try and use or reuse second-hand and things that are already made and manufactured, and to keep things on the road rather than buying new. I think the total price for a winter car and a summer car was less than 3,000 euros. And you know, if you think about what one brand new car might cost today, or even a car that's 5 years old, you know, we're saving so much money and we're doing something good for the environment, and we also get to drive a fun vintage car. So we transitioned through to a Saab 9.3. I've done a video on that before, but we just felt that it really didn't have that vintage feel that we missed in the Saab 900 that Lisa had previously. So we decided to look for a manual 900, and we ended up buying this 1986 900 8 valve with 5 doors and a 5-speed manual gearbox, and it was just in excellent condition, low mileage, and just really ran well. Now, yeah, it doesn't look as fun and as sporty as the orange 900 that Lisa had before, but it is a 900. It is just a beautiful example of an old Saab, and it really is just a reliable, fun, enjoyable vintage car to have on the road for the summer. So this is what we end up getting for our winter car. It's a 2008 Saab 9.5 2-litre turbo Biopower in the estate version with a 5-speed manual gearbox. It's got 220,000 kilometers on the clock. It's got a pretty good service history, and it's running and driving great. We did have a couple of minor fixes that we had to do when we picked up the car, but I think this will serve its purpose as a good second car that we can use as a winter beater. I think it's a really good balance between old and new. It's not obviously that modern, being that it's 18 years old now, but obviously it's not vintage either, like a 40-year-old 900 that perhaps we don't want to keep on the road in the winter, which needs a bit more maintenance and care. Anyway, here's Lisa, and we're going to ask some questions about the 9.5 and why we kind of needed it. So Lisa, you've lived in Sweden all your life. Tell us a little bit about the winters here.
Well, the winters could be long, dark, cold, icy, snowy, and they do put a lot of salt on the roads.
So it's due to these harsh Swedish winters, the reason why I've ended up having 2 cars whilst living in Sweden. When I was in the UK, I had one car before I moved here, and I had that car for a few years. It was a 900 turbo, and I used that all year round, and I never had any problems with rust. But coming to Sweden, I had friends who had Saabs, and I met people who were collectors of vintage cars, and they told me that if you're lucky enough to find a nice Saab 900 turbo that you want to use in Sweden, you're going to want to put that car away for the winter. The salt corrosion here just destroys cars. And I accidentally had to learn this lesson because I used to have a 900 turbo convertible that I would put away for the winter, and the first winter I decided that I would buy a Saab 9000 to use as my winter beater. And I wasn't really into 9000s at the time, but I still wanted to have a Saab to use as my daily driver in the winter. And when I bought that car, it was a 1998 model, a CSE. It was rust free, and after 5 years of using it every winter, the car had just rotten away. And it was just really sad because it actually ended up being one of the best Saabs I've ever owned. It was just a really lovely car, and it was just a shame what happened to it due to just using it as a daily driver in the winter. So yeah, I've learned that if you're going to invest in a nice vintage Saab, you probably should not be using that in the winter, and you need to find something else just to get you through. Even if you're going to find yourself another 900 that's beaten up to use in the winter, but you don't want to use the one that you're trying to, like, you know, prolong its life. You need to put that one away. Is it essential to have a second car for the winter? I mean, you put the vintage 900 away to protect it from the salt corrosion, but aren't there other ways to get around?
We could get around with walking or taking the bus or train, but in our situation we needed a car for the kids to learn in, and that needs to continue through the winter.
So what do you actually think about the 95 then?
Well, it's obviously a more modern car, a lot of influence from GM. In most respects it doesn't feel like a Saab, but it serves its purpose. However, it does feel like a Saab when I start the car because of where the key is.
So although I would say that it's not as Saab-y as older Saabs, there's definitely some Saab characteristics in this interior, and I do like the cleanness of it, but the cleanness of it kind of takes me away from it being Saab and more GM influenced and being more like an Opel. But I mean, it's a serviceable cockpit, it works really well, and I can see that it's got some of the little Saab influences and tweaks there. When you look closely on the 95, you do see some of the influences that came over from the 9000. One of them is this like blackout area on the windscreen that kind of helps with the sunlight when you've got your sun visors down. When I think about it, this center console almost mirrors my 900 turbo convertible in the placement of the switches. So there is some nice little touches here that make me feel like I'm driving a Saab. Now obviously the 95 is a well thought out car. It's got some things that carry over from previous generations, and I just love that it's got a lot of space, it's got some good storage. I love these little features like the rear armrest that has the built-in cup holders. So Lisa, tell me a couple of things you do like about this Saab 95, being that it's obviously more modern than not our vintage 900.
The best thing is the seat warmer, because I'm always cold, and of course the cup holder so I can have my morning coffee when I'm driving. And this is another good thing.
Oh yeah, the dual sun visor. So the Saab 9.5 is actually quite a nice car to drive. It has nice responsiveness, it's got good feedback through the pedals and the steering wheel. I will say that it doesn't feel quite as planted and have the refinement of a Saab 9000. The materials used in the interior and the switchgear that's obviously come over from GM don't quite have the quality. But other than that, this is a good quality second-hand family car that's going to be fit for purpose. There you go, guys, just a quick video of the Saab 9.5 that we're going to use for the winter and for our kids to basically learn to drive in as well. We hope you've enjoyed the video. Please do like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the Classic Saab Guy. Happy New Year.